Okay, good morning. It's Friday, April 30th, and we're gonna hop over here and look at the S&P. So the market opened about 3.5 minutes ago, and let's just kind of first things first. Remember, let's keep in context what we said yesterday in the video where we reviewed what happened yesterday was that even though the market went all the way to that back to that 4209. What did we say last night? It was still just a bounce. That meant that the sellers were still in charge, and there's still room that we can move lower here. Okay, so a couple of things here since then. So a couple of significant things that happened. They took out on this. They held the CP over here, but then they took that out, and then more significant was they took out this 83 area. Now they did come up and probe up a bit through here, which is fine. Once they trade below it, that's sort of the clue, and then they came up and traded a bit above it. They then held it over here. They've come back right here to 82.75. So in map, I said 82 was kind of the first thing, and you can see that was definitely something. When you watch this, as the candle's forming, it came up, hit 72, hit 7, or 82, 82, 82, and then it got up here to 82.75. But I'm telling you right now, this 83, 83 quarter gonna be important. If they're able to break out above this, then pretty possible we could rally back up into this 95 area. And then above 95, there's a bit of room back up into, let's call it 4,200 up to this 40 right here, up to these KPs. Okay, something like that. And then that better hold for lower, otherwise we'll go back up higher again. Okay, so and new highs on the other side. So there's how you have it right there. So there's 83 quarter being tested right now to the tick, and then we'll see how this plays out. If they don't break here, then we're going to go lower. If they hold, if they break, if so, yeah, so if they hold here, we're going to see lower. If they break out above here, it opens up some room, and we could rally up into, let's say, 95 area, and then we'll go from there. So let's, yeah, just kind of looking here to see. There's a little bit going on. I mean, just not super straightforward, easy today. So let me just give you what we have here that's important. So 87, let's just call it 87.50, and then 89.50, and then up above that 95. Okay, just how it is. I just want you to have what there is right here. So actually, let's go over here. So 95 is definitely the more important out of all of those. What it gave you. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that we updated that there. Okay, so they probed 83 quarter by 3 ticks, not really a big deal, but let's see if they now hold, which is quite possible that they'll try and hold this 81 area. So off of the KP right here. I mean, obviously we're looking for a move lower. That's the move we're looking for. So I want to look at one other thing here and give you something else here. So on the move down here, let's talk about that, and then I'll give you one other target possibly. Actually, let's do that target first because that might be more important. So there is, okay, there we go. So I'm gonna give you this one other target as a possibility for today. I don't need that. Okay, so it looks like what's really going to be the factor here is that if we can get down to that 57 area. So if I do it a couple of different ways, I get 59.25 one way. We have 57 from yesterday. So those are just things to keep in mind, okay? We also have 81.50 for today, but we also have this KP here at 81. So not a whole lot of reason to talk too much about that. So, all right, if they do come down lower here, let's talk about what they need to get through on the way down here. So they would need to take out, as of right now this morning, let's call it this 80. Okay, so this 80 area would be first order of business. Well, obviously we just said 81, but then 80 is right below that. And then the 7650 area, that's going to change a little bit with time. It's going to become 77. Let's go out to about 9 o'clock this morning. We're talking 7750. So, okay, it changes a little bit over time. And then below that, back down to that like 72 area. Let's go out to about 9 o'clock, okay? My time, 7250. So between 7250 and 72. And then that opens things up a bit. We obviously have the CP. We have here. I'm telling you right now, if the market comes down into this 54 area, and if this can't hold, if it comes down to here and this doesn't hold, then there's a lot of room. It really opens things up for lower, okay? So it really starts to change things and opens things up for lower, like back to here, 41.30. So there's about 24 points of room between here and what would be opened up down below there. But let's suppose that doesn't, let's just take this one step at a time. So below this KP right here, we have it's so dependent on timing, but let's call it 6250 down to like 61 area. Okay, so 62 half to 61, something like that. So just kind of watch that area. And then below that, I gave you that kind of adjusted target from today at 59 and then, or 59.75. Let's go see what it was. 59.25, and then 57 is still on the table from yesterday. So there you have it. And that's basically, if you trade it one step at a time. So here's an example. What you could do is if they break out up above here, then you could try long on a pullback, which at this point I'm thinking they want to go and test a bit higher. The tricky part is there's not a whole ton of room. So, there's room from like 81, and I guess, it's not bad. There's room from 81 up to that, let's call it 87.25. So there's 6 points on that. So if you can get in at 81 and cover at 87, there's 6 points. And it doesn't mean 87's the top. Maybe you just take some profit. And then there's 89.50 above that. So there's a little bit more room. But to me, those are the points you really have to fight for, I think. I like the trades where there's, a pretty obvious 10, 15, 20, 30 points. Those don't happen all the time, but I'm just telling you, I mean, for me, where I want to load up and get really aggressive is when there's a pretty obvious 10, 15, 20, 30 point target. Okay. So, um, otherwise, I am going to try and scalp it in between there. And a scalp for me is going to be a minimum of, let's say, 5 points. Okay. So that's how I'll be trading today. That's what I'll be looking at with here is as long as we're kind of in some of this tighter range. We'll see how big of a bounce they're able to get here. But right now, it looks like they want to go at least to 87.25, and then above that 89.50, and then above that, 95 area, and then we've mapped out what's up above there. So that you have it, or so that you know, we're doing a map training, an in-depth map training. So if you are a member of MAP, we'll be rolling that out. If you're not a member of MAP, why not? And come join us if you think that might be a good fit for you. Let's talk about it. But we're going to talk about what do you do when you have these different, if you have a number of different levels that are sort of close together, what do you do? How do you manage, even if they're not close together, but especially useful if these levels are close together, how do you manage that? How do you handle it? Um, so, basically, how do you handle your stop? How do you manage your risk? That kind of thing. So we're going to be talking about that in our first session. So if that's something that's of interest to you, then reach out to us and let's have a conversation and see if MAP could be a good fit for you. And as usual, I'll be back here doing a review today, and we'll look forward to that. We'll see how this all plays out here today. Hopefully, the way that I've laid it out is useful and you can use it in your trading. And the same as always, take it one step at a time. Don't get stuck on any one thing, and we will see you at the other side of this when things are closed and we do the review. Talk soon.